I just did. It's too late. The train has started to roll down the tracks, and we are
Take
live.
care of business every day.
Yeah.
Take care of business all day long. Taking care of business, it's a life. Taking care of business and working overtime.
Triple M, please keep your day job, whatever that is. You are not the Rowdy Rough Boys. Although you would want to be the Rowdy Rough Boys, 'cause all their songs sound the same. Like every song after Taking Care of Business sounds like Taking Care of Business. It's the most ridiculous shit ever.
Well, once you sell like 1,000,000 hits of the song, you try to keep that sound.
Well, I mean, that's the difference between a great musician and and a good musician. A great musician, all their shit sounds different, but it's all really good. A good musician gets one hit and they just keep on milking that one damn hit. Like Ricky Martin for years, like all his songs sounded like "Living La Vida Loca." Living La Vida Loca, living La Vida Loca. Then he did "She Bangs," and then Edward Hung, the guy from America's Got Talent, like he came on, he murdered that song, like he took it out back and shot in the head like 3 times.
Oh,
She Bangs, She Bangs. I'm like, come on, man. Why would anyone vote this fucker in? He's horrific. He cannot sing.
Like Coed and Cambria, I feel like, every album they have are different. Like, Good Apollo 4 doesn't sound like You're the Black Rainbow, or You're the Black Rainbow doesn't sound like BBC versus Silent 3.
Dude, I don't listen to those types of. See, let me explain something to you. I like R&B, and I like R&B and soul music, and I also like to listen to 70s and 80s R&B and soul music, 60s, 50s. So I mean, that's basically where I'm coming from. I don't know any of these modern shits. I don't listen to them. Sorry.
Am I the only metalhead out of 4 of us?
Oh no!
Yes, unfortunately.
I listen to metal. I listen to hard rock.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. No.
make it 3.
No. I guess I'm the only one. No, don't listen to that. Nope.
Although I don't listen to these recent ones. But I guess I'm the only person that actually like rock and classical music.
Well,
What do you mean by classical music? You mean like opera?
Not opera, more like orchestra, like one of the Mozart, Beethoven.
Orchestrated music.
Yes.
Yeah, so like classical and Baroque era, pretty much.
Yeah, Mozart, Tchaikovsky, Beethoven.
I'm wide range, but I do love me some jazz music too.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the only orchestrated music I like to listen to, everyone likes the old stuff, but I like Jerry Goldsmith's, because even though he's a modern composer, his music is very, he's classically trained, so his music is very orchestrated. And John Williams, because look, you can't be a fan of music and not like John Williams.
So true.
Yes, and occasionally Danny Elfman. But I digress. Basically, Kenoshi has a wonderful topic that needs to be discussed. Go, Mr. Kenoshi Abominito.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, why in the heck do we still root for Konami, Capcom, and Square Enix, and let's see what else? Capcom, Square Enix, Konami. Yeah, why do we still root for these 3 companies? They're just shells, all the meat, all the substance that made those companies what they were. They're all gone. It's been eaten out. These people who made the games that you love are gone. They've gone other places, started indie studios, were retired, whatever. So why do we still hope and pray that Konami will be resurrected? Why not just shoot the dog and walk away? The dog's dying. On its last breath. There's no saving it. It's just you gotta put it down.
Who wants to answer this first?
Oh, and Sega too. Sega's one of them as well.
Sega. Who wants to answer this first?
I might not be able to answer that, but could someone give me a pistol and take me to the shed and just shoot them down? I've lost. I really have lost all hope. Maybe not for Capcom, just especially anything about Mega Man. Yeah, that's a long gone.
So I'm gonna have to be the one to answer it first. Okay, fine then. I'll do it. It's not that people have faith in these companies. People have faith in the IPs because they really want to see the IPs come back. And to be fair, all is not lost with these companies. Well, except for Konami, because fuck those guys. But even then, it's not even all lost with Konami either. And I'll tell you why. This segues into what I want to talk about, but fuck it. Think of it like this. Let's say you were Konami, okay? And let's say, hypothetically speaking, just hypothetically speaking, let's say you were Konami and you wanted to, and someone came up to you and said, hey, Konami, we're an indie studio. We want to work with the Castlevania IP. Konami says, okay, you want to work with it, and you're an indie company, so obviously you don't have the money to do it yourself, but tell you what, we'll give you a budget of $5 million, and you make like a single A Konami game, and we'll put it on the 3DS, or we'll put it on Steam, the 3DS, and like everything else. It'll be released digitally, and it'll be like $19.99. Konami basically, and let's say it sells 1 million across 6 platforms. So that's 60 million. I mean, that's 6 million times 20. And so they make like 80 million. And they give maybe the indie studio that made the shit maybe like 10, 15 million. The rest of that goes to Konami. That's actually a pretty good business deal. Someone's got some feedback. But I digress. So basically, that's a really good business deal. And, I mean, that's just Konami. What if they did that with all of their IPs? So we would get ourselves Metal Gear Solid, a Metal Gear Solid, maybe a 2D Metal Gear Solid game done by an indie developer that's
actually good.
That would actually be something different, but stay true to the roots. I mean, think about it. Clay Entertainment does a lot of stealth games. Like they did the Ninja game and Shank, which Shank is not a stealth game, but it's really fun. So they did the Ninja game and Shank. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, they made a Metal Gear game. I mean, we know they can do stealth. We know they can do action. If they did a 2D Metal Gear game, they could totally knock that shit out the park. And they could do it for cheaper than Kojima ever. Yeah, it was KH Anime. They could do it for cheaper than Kojima ever dreamed of. And as far as Sega and Capcom not being totally lost causes, here's the thing. Sega, like, I know I give Sega a lot of shit. I'm like, yeah, fuck Sonic the Hedgehog. But Sega has one of my favorite non-Nintendo characters of all time. Like one of my favorite games of all time is under Sega's belt. It's called Yakuza. I mean, like 2 of the characters are appealing in Project X Zone 2, and I'm totally getting that game because they're in it. I mean, I was gonna get this shit anyway, but they're in it. Like they've got like Kazuma Kiryu or Kiryu Kazuma, depending on which translation of the games you've played. And they've got a dude named Goro Majima, Mad Eye Majima. The dude's got one eye, and he beats people with baseball bats. Like, he stabs people with knives. And in the first game, he was voiced by Mark fucking Hamill. So, I mean, look, listen.
Red, let me ask you this. Have you actually acquired the first game?
Yeah. I have the first 2 Yakuza games were on the PS2.
No. I actually meant Project X Zone.
Yeah, I have that game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a really good game. My only problem with that game is that I would have preferred it to be more RPG-like and less like strategy RPG, but whatever. But I love RPGs more. Capcom, yeah, Capcom right now has been sucking balls for a while now. But guess what? Capcom might come back with. I mean, they still got Monster Hunter. If you really love Monster Hunter, they still got that. That's still going strong.
But they still got Monster Hunter and Ace Attorney.
To tell you the truth, I like watching Ace Attorney. I hate playing it.
Well, you already know that is not your cup of tea.
And here's the thing, like I have all of them and I've beaten them, but I do not understand people's love with Phoenix Wright.
I guess they're more into detective case than you are.
The only Phoenix Wright game that I enjoyed was the one where they switched out Phoenix Wright for Apollo Justice. The first case, the prologue case is like he punches the shit out of Phoenix Wright for falsifying evidence. That was that was a good game.
Wow, you really hate the character Phoenix Wright.
I just think he's become a meme of himself. Objection! 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 I'm like, come on, man, get the fuck.
And you get the internet praise for that.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying that Phoenix Wright just never really resonated with me. I know why people like it. I personally just am not a fan of it. But I mean, like these companies aren't completely dead. It's just the thing is this. They still have some IPs that are still kind of working for some people. Like Square Enix, their console games. I haven't played a good Square Enix console game since the PS2. Okay, but their handheld games are still pretty damn good. I mean, Bravely Default, that was published by Square Enix and Nintendo. It was developed by a third-party studio under the auspices of Square Enix, and it was published, at least in Japan, by Square Enix, but in the rest of the world by Nintendo. That game, I mean, that came out of Square Enix. Pretty damn good game. I guess some people like The World Ends With You. I personally was,
I couldn't get into it either. Like,
no, it wasn't that. I mean, like I can understand why people like it. I just didn't think it was all that good.
yeah.
Like the art style really wasn't doing it for me. The characters really wasn't doing it for me. The premise.
In other words, you're saying it shouldn't have that much praiseworthy.
The premise of it really wasn't doing it for me. It's just, I mean, I can understand why people like it, because, I mean, here's the thing. Tetsuya Nomura he's been the Kingdom Hearts guy. For him to do something different than Kingdom Hearts, and it's actually not fucking terrible, is pretty good. I can understand why people like that. But I don't like Tetsuya Nomura's art style. I damn sure don't like how he crafts his stories. So for him to do a game that's basically has this convoluted ass story, these weird ass villains, this weird ass motivation for your character, I'm like, I mean, I don't know.
What's more convoluted, Kingdom Hearts or Metal Gear Solid?
I would say Metal Gear Solid, just because Metal Gear Solid has more bullshit. Like Kingdom Hearts only has there's only 4 games you have to play in order to understand Kingdom Hearts. Whereas Metal Gear Solid, if you want to get the full story, you got to get fucking books, you got to get the mangas, you got to get the fucking officially sanctioned Konami books, you got to get the director's cut versions of some of those damn games. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
Sorry, Kenoshi. Let's not forget that if you actually pre-ordered Phantom Pain, that you're going to have another disc with the proper ending that was cut out.
I don't know about that. All I know is that they're very boring. But Kanashi was going to say something. What were you going to say, Kanashi?
I was going to say when I watched Bunny Hop's video review on Metal Gear Solid 5, he was
And thank you, by the way. Thank you for that, by the way. Continue.
he was explaining the story. I was like, what the heck is this? Like, I can hear a synopsis of a story that I've never read or heard and be like, okay, I get what's going on. But I was listening to what he was saying. It's like, oh, and spoilers, everyone. Metal Gear Solid 5 apparently is this grand hallucination that's conceived by a character named Venom Snake or whatever, and there's a scene where every time he flips the tape, 10 years go by. It's like, what is this? And
Also, that's what it's about. I didn't even get that.
so he was. It's just, and this guy's supposed to be a genius. That's just like throwing darts at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Well, can we just be frank and just say that? Can we just be frank and say that? Can we just be frank and just say that Hideo Kojima is overrated? And I've said this before. Like, he's totally overrated. He's not as good as people. He's not as good of a developer as people thinks he is. Because all he's been doing is like one fucking thing. I mean, he can't be that good when all he's done is one goddamn thing. You can't, you know.
I will give him credit that that he basically encapsulates the story of the Metal Gear franchise, as in the ending of Phantom Pain is basically follow up part, no, the after, should I say follow up or after party? Anyway, I digress. It's either one of them. Phantom Pain 2, the first Metal Gear game.
And the whole game is based in a dream, and that's supposed to be original. That's supposed to be groundbreaking. That's supposed to be.
Yeah, Hideo Kojima is. I've said this before. Hideo Kojima is one of the most overrated. Not like he's like. And here's the thing. Like you ask people, they're like, man, Hideo Kojima is a genius. Well, what games have you played? The people who say he's a genius, the only shit they've played from him is fucking Metal Gear. And my point is this: you can't call someone a fucking genius when you've only played one track of their game. Now, I have played a large swath of Kojima's games, and I'll tell you right now, Metal Gear is actually one of the weakest franchises he's made. Sorry. Okay.
I don't like how many games or movies have you seen where the whole thing just basically takes place in somebody's head. I believe Eternal Sonata, it came out on the 360.
Yeah.
Was essentially just a big dream.
But Eternal Sonata was a better made game.
Yeah, that game was kind of fun. I played the demo of it. Never picked up the whole game.
What was the name of that? There was I think one of the Silent Hills, like everything that happened was just. Like everything in Metal Gear Solid was just a fucking.
Was it Shattered Memory?
No, it was Silent Hill 2. The one where you were the guy and he was looking like the Metal Gear. No, it was Silent Hill 2 where you were James. I forgot his last name, and basically like it turns out that the reason he's in Silent Hill is because he smothered his. Yeah, spoiler alert, but this game came out like over 10 years ago, so at this point, I'm pretty sure spoilers are like it just got spoiled. # deal with it. Like the reason he's in Silent Hill is because his wife was dying, and he smothered her to death. Like she was dying, and she was like really ill with like cancer, and he smothered her to death. Like did a mercy kill, and now like his guilt is the reason why he's in Silent Hill. But like the reason he was like it's all in his head. I mean. Like the all in the head cliche has been done to death. Like literally, it's been done to death.
As a team, maybe you can explain the reality of the storyline of Metal Gear. Maybe you could actually explain it and make it coherent.
Which one?
I just
put me on the spot when I jump in here like that.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why this guy is hailed as such a genius, like the Japanese Shakespeare of video games. I just don't get it.
Well, I mean, unless you, I don't think he is. I think if you're not a fan or fanboy of Kojima, then you don't feel that way. 'Cause a lot of people I know don't really care for Metal Gear and think the stories are too convoluted and all that stuff. So I don't think he's universally loved.
I think the problem with Kojima is that most of the people who call him a genius only played his Metal Gear games, and I'm like, that's like someone saying, "Man, I really like." Let's see, It's like people saying, "I really like Michael Bay's Transformer films," but it's like, okay, I can understand that. That is a valid. You might like those films. Did you see Bad Boys or The Rock?
Mm.
You know? It's like, did you see him when he actually was kind of good?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Before Armageddon.
Yeah, before Armageddon. Did you see him before he just had a love affair with shit exploding in the worst possible way?
Yeah, the only reason I'm saying that is because of all the 10s out of 10s the game's getting. They're got a 93 Metacritic right now.
No, the reason they're giving it high scores is because this is, like, in all possibilities, this is the last Metal Gear game.
Right.
So, I mean, they're giving it one song. It's like, if it was the last, if there was like one, if Nintendo just suddenly said, you know what, fuck it, we're getting out of the video game industry entirely, and they made, like, their swan song of games, like, their last Zelda, their last Mario, their last Star Fox, their last Metroid. I guarantee those games would be perfect 10 out of 10 game of the year. Like,
But I haven't played it. Like from what I hear, a lot of people that have played it liked it. It looks like a cool game.
It looks like a fun game.
A lot of the reviews I see, they point out all these flaws and then they give it a 10. I'm like, what?
yeah.
Oh, come on.
You
You know perfectly well Konami put a gun in their head to say give him a 10.
No, I mean, like I said, part of it is this is the swan song, and they're going to do a solid for Hideo Kojima. And I mean, here's the thing, like, I mean, even though I give a lot of shit to Hideo Kojima because, like, I get tired of people praising him like he's this super duper genius of game design. Like, he's this super duper genius of game design, and I'm like, not even close. But
I kind of feel like that era has already gone, like a few years ago. Like as far as people's love of Kojima or reverence of Kojima,
yeah.
I don't think that's been the case in the last few years.
well, I mean, he's always been like, okay, almost every single damn Metal Gear game except for 3, the one where 3 was the one where you played as Raiden, which everyone hated. But I mean, no, well, whichever one, the one where everyone's like, I don't want to play as this blonde-haired guy who's totally not cool. Then they went around and retconned him to be like one of the most badass characters in the franchise. Well, Platinum did, but I digress. I mean, the people who say he's so great, I'm like, well, did you play his other shit? Because, like, here's the thing, some of the other
Zone
things.
of the Enders.
Zone of the Enders. Police Knots, Snatcher. Go play Snatcher.
They don't know about that.
Yeah, go play Police Knots. It's Lethal Weapon in space. Like literally, you have a black guy who looks like Danny Glover. You got a white guy with a mullet that looks like Murtaugh.
What did Police Knots come out on?
I want to say the PC Engine Duo. Because it was this, like you can use the Q card or you can use the CD to make it.
I know I played it,
better.
I just can't remember.
And the MSX. I have it on the MSX. I don't have it on the PC Engine Duo.
The most surprising thing is apparently
the MSX then.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently the NES version / the MSX version of Metal Gear ties into the story of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I like the original Metal Gear a lot actually.
Yeah. Hideo Kojima hates that one because they destroyed his vision. I'm like, come on, man, it's the NES. There's so much shit you can do. You know what, man? It's like, well, they changed the Metal Gear into a machine. I'm like, come on, man, shit.
What was the Metal Gear supposed to be?
It's supposed to be a mech.
Supposed to be the mech, yeah.
Yeah.
Although,
I mean,
why are you complaining it?
It's called a Metal Gear.
Yeah, Metal Gear is very Japanese. People need to understand that. Like Like you do all this stealth stuff because I mean think about it. Every Metal Gear game is basically the same thing. Like you sneak around, you kill some guards, you complete some objectives, you fight some weird funky bosses, but you can probably stealth your way through most of them. But then at the end of the game, you have this fight where you get like a rocket launcher or some overpowered weapon, and you fight a giant mech. That's
that's the thing about Metal Gear to me is that I think I liked it better when it was, like you said, it was Japanese. It's a Japanese game, but it tried to get really Western. It got really Western, or it tried at least the Japanese version of a Western game, and it just didn't work for me. I know a lot of people like it though. So.
I mean, you know, but like I said, like if people want to say they love Kojima, well, I just want to say this as someone who's a retro gamer. Go play some of his other games. Go play Snatcher. Go play Snatcher sequel, which I forgot, but it's also kind of a quirky little game. Go play Police Knots. Go play Zone of the Enders 1 and 2. Go play Zone of the Enders on the Game Boy Advance that was like a tactical RPG. Go play those games. Go play some other shit. Don't just play Metal Gear.
Especially you can get Zone of the Enders Collection, can't you, on PS3? For
yeah, but it's only those two games. The tactical game on the GBA is actually my favorite because it's more of an RPG.
I just kind of want to end my ramblings with this. Like, I think Metal Gear Solid 5 actually looks pretty fun. Like, what I've been hearing about it, some of the mechanics that I've been hearing about it, how experimental it is. It sounds like an interesting game mechanically. Just story-wise, it just seems a little...
It has cliches. Though, like over-the-shoulder shooting, all that kind of stuff. It's like
but that's Kojima, though. Kojima, basically, here's the thing you need to realize about Kojima. He was a film student in college. Okay, that's his primary passion. And you can watch his games, you can play his games, and you realize he got his ideas from other things. Like Snatcher is Blade Runner, Police Knots is Lethal Weapon, Metal Gear, the original Metal Gear is Escape from New York with Snake Plissken. I mean, like, Zone of the Enders is every shonen mech anime in the 90s during Japan, in Japan during the 90s. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, those are his inspirations. And there's nothing wrong with, looking around you for inspirations. I mean, look at Shigeru Miyamoto. He's like, where'd you come up with the idea of Pikmin? I was working in my garden, and I pulled up a radish, and I was like, you know what? I can make a game about this shit. That is some weird stuff.
Real.
But I mean, I'm just saying is that everyone has their own little proclivities, as you will.
Going back by what you said about these companies doesn't have to be be in the pastures and put the rest.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of sound with Konami, but you kind of sounded like crap. I forgot this YouTuber's name. You reminded me of Jim Sterling when he said, Thank God for them to maybe get out of the gaming business, but at least their IPs are not going to be dead.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't understand. It's like people don't give a shit about Konami. They care about the IPs. Even though Konami has done some things that have really pissed me off, I still want to see another Gradius game. I want to see another Castlevania. I want to see. I'll probably never see another Mystical Ninja game, but I would love to see another Mystical Ninja game. I want to see these things. Like Capcom. Like, I know everyone's like Keiji Inafune and Mighty No. 9, which has been delayed again. But I would love to see I don't really like.
And they need to just sell Mystical Ninja to Nintendo, man. Call it a day.
That would be awesome. Or if they could do that, I tell you what would be awesome. If Konami did a collaboration with Nintendo, and they took Mystical Ninja 64, the one that was basically kind of like a knockoff of Mario 64, and they took that idea and just made a huge open world game with Goemon, and you got the other ninjas involved, and just had the giant mech fights and stuff. I guarantee you, if Nintendo put their muscle behind that, they could make that game sell decent enough that they could like put that like really rebrand that character. Because there was a time when Goemon was like supposed to be like one of Konami's like mascot characters, like
Yeah.
and they were like he's too Japanese. I don't know. I mean, like, it's not that people want to give a break to these companies. It's that they love the IPs. It's like people like Kingdom Hearts. I don't know why, but they like Kingdom Hearts. People.
I get the appeal.
I like
I haven't.
I'm guilty.
Yeah,
I'm guilty.
I like Disney characters.
No, people like Kingdom Hearts the way I like Final Fantasy. Like, I loved Final Fantasy when I was a kid. On the SNES and the NES, I loved those games. And, like, it's like I have this deep connection. I love Dragon Quest. I have a deep connection with those games. So I want to see them come. Like, there's always, like, even though I'm a very pessimistic person on some things, at the heart of a pessimist, you'll see an optimist just, like, who was hurt too many times. That's basically what we're doing. Like, I really wish. I wish
Not
they
be the
should
first. Not be the first to admit that Kingdom Hearts is convoluted as all could be. I mean,
It has. I mean, it kind of has to be because it's too much. You're melding all these worlds together.
Yeah.
You got to make a coherent story. It's going to be kind of tough.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing that kind of, like, the thing that brought down Kingdom Hearts for me is that it just, like, it wasn't the Disney RPG I wanted.
Yeah.
Like, it was, like when they first announced it. Well,
So
no,
the
when they first
is an RPG.
announced it, they were like, I was like, okay, so you're basically gonna have some nameless protagonist going around the Disneyland and these multiple universes in Disney World, like IPs, like getting Disney characters to join you, and you create this massive army of Disney characters to fight and do RPG battles and stuff. I was like, shit, that sounds awesome. And then we got this like weird anime-esque thing with like a Keyblade and like Heartless and like these two male characters staring at each other really weirdly, and I was like, yeah, this is not gonna do it for me.
It had Dawn, Goofy, and all the original voice actors.
And they messed up Goofy. Yeah, I wasn't down with that. I was like, come on, man. Goofy was one of my favorite characters in Disney animated characters. Yeah, I actually liked Goof Troop. I liked the Goofy movie. I'm sorry.
You're not the only
I'm
one,
sorry
right?
too.
I am not going to say. I'm not going
Look,
to.
I don't care what anyone says. Anyone who didn't see the end of that film where Goofy does the ultimate cast and the guy starts dancing with him. That is, and then they did the sequel where Goofy goes to college and like it turns out he's a child of the '70s. I'm like, I knew that guy was from the
Man,
'70s.
you weren't lying. You really into it, huh?
Because look at Goofy and it's like, well, that obviously he's a goofy-looking bastard. But if you were to put him into the '70s, give him some bell bottoms, an afro, a mood ring, and a PK, he would fit right in. Look, that'd be cool for him. It totally makes sense. I'm a baby boomer. Because that's basically how people with parents feel. It's like I used to be cool, then I had kids, and you sapped my coolness, you little bastard. No, I'm just.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even mind having a father like that.
I used to be no, you wouldn't want Goofy as your father because he gets flustered. He starts grinning like an idiot. Oh well. But
I love those flusters. I love those grins.
Yeah.
Imitate them.
But I really thought that's what they were going for, but they made it very casualized, and that's the market they were going for. They were going for like the younger kids, like the 10, 11, 12-year-olds with that franchise, and it worked because the kids who were 10, 11, 12 when it came out, now 8, 9, 10 years later, they're still Kingdom Hearts 3, yeah, Sora, Riku.
And to think, half these kids are probably married and have children right now, and Kingdom
Well,
Hearts.
not if you're 18, 19, they're in college.
I don't know. Kingdom Hearts came out when I was like 13 years old. The first game. It's been like how many years? No, it's been a while.
12.
Kingdom Hearts came out when I was in middle school, and then the second one came out when I was a freshman in high school, and now we're still waiting for 3.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think
Like,
Square Enix fucked up with that one. I think they took the money from Kingdom Hearts, and I think they basically put it into like Final Fantasy 13 and shit.
I mean, you know, like most IPs that wants to last forever, you know those characters are not going to age. Look at Pokemon.
The Pokemon keeps evolving. No pun intended.
Yeah, well, it does, because they're always adding stuff. Like, me personally, I would love for them to bring back what they did in Pokemon Alpha, X and Y, where you could, like, customize your protagonist and have a dark-skinned person for the first time in forever.
What?
That was kind of cool for me, and, like dress your character up any way you wanted to, because I made my character a little hipster with a fedora and junk. I'm like, yeah, how'd that feel? You got your ass beat by a hipster with a fedora tilted to the side and everything, looking all gangster and shit. Yeah.
Something regarding Metal Gear Solid. The other issue I have is like 4 and 5. It's no longer a top down. Like it's not the whole tried and true formula of being top down view. Even 1 and 2 was top down. That was on PlayStation 1.
Now see, now you're sounding like the people who were like when Zelda went 3D. Because remember, Zelda used to be top down.
I mean, but Zelda was a good transition. But when Metal Gear Solid did it, though, it just felt like another open world AAA game for the most part.
Speaking of Zelda, like I've been watching some of those Nintendo mods where they take Nintendo characters or their worlds and put them into Unreal 4.
Yeah.
Don't they look like trash?
No, they look really good, but the worlds look lifeless. The worlds look lifeless and tasteless. It's like, this looks really pretty.
Bland and...
Yeah, it looks pretty, but it looks lifeless. Like,
and the whole lighting and stuff like that just seems super excessive, not obsessive.
What about not only that? What about, I don't know? It's not bump mapping. Whatever they're doing to make them look all shiny, like especially the Mario ones I saw, he looks really glossy.
I don't know what was up with that.
Like he's been swimming in cocoa butter or something.
Yeah, and I hear people who don't understand how the video game industry works or anything. They're like, why doesn't Nintendo just make a game in Unreal? Well, because once a game meets a certain threshold, Nintendo would have to give a portion of their money to the people who hold the licensing rights to Unreal, and that means revenue would be leaving their company.
That's what we call in the hood bad business.
Yeah, and Nintendo, even though Nintendo doesn't dominate the market like they did during the NES and SNES generation, like in terms of consoles or the handheld market like they did for many years, they still are like by far the most profitable video game company in the world. And the reason they are is because they do a lot of shit and they keep business in-house. You know, they make their own engines, they do their own proprietary tech, and they don't have to give, you know, Tom, Dick, and Larry money for licensing and shit. They're not going to do that shit.
They failed, man.
Now,
yeah, that is. You're right. They need to be like Microsoft and give a cut of their money to someone else every time they sell a console. That is.
Man, Microsoft getting smart about that. They like, we gotta start making our own. We gotta start putting our money in our own games.
Well, I hope that works for them. All 5 of their major IPs.
Now you're just being a Nintendo.
I mean, here's the thing. Like Microsoft, before they got into the console industry, I actually liked them as a publisher. They licensed Age of Empires, which was awesome. They were the ones who actually held the licensing rights, the publishing rights for Mass Effect, the first Mass Effect, which is why it took forever for it to come out on PS3. It took forever for Mass Effect to come out on PS3, even though it was on the Xbox One, the Xbox 360, and PC.
Them deals, yo.
Yep.
I ask you this question. Like, it seems like when I was watching those tech demos, like a lot, like I even saw one with Samus, and in the title was like, what Metroid should look like on the NX, and nobody seems to grasp the idea of balancing technical aspects and art style. Like people just can't seem to wrap their heads around the idea of balancing the two.
Yeah. Now speaking about that, Red, I did heard your talks about that on I think it was on podcast last, but it was a freakishly blood good explanation. But I dare say that we're gonna hear some people are going to say, okay, then why can't Nintendo make their own version of CryEngine and use those type of graphics? I kid you not, I'm going to hear that.
Well, I mean, you're gonna hear like here's the thing. At the end of the day, like you can ask anyone here, even hardcore Nintendo fans, if someone had told you after the N64 what the GameCube was going to be, no one would have predicted it. If someone had told you what the Wii was going to be when the GameCube was out, no one would have predicted it. If someone had told you what the Wii U was going to be when the Wii was running, no one would have predicted it. So for people to continuously try to predict what the NX is going to be, or for people to make videos, the NX needs to be this. I'm
It's
like,
a cure for AIDS.
No. I tell you what the NX needs to be. The NX needs to be something that's going to move the industry forward and provide something that's different from the same shit that we're going to get from the Xbox, whatever the Xbox successor is, if they have a successor, and the PS5. Because I'm telling you right now, the PS4 is basically a PS3 on steroids, and the Xbox One is an Xbox 360 on steroids. Like, aside from a few technological leaps, it's basically a very, like, the consoles feel very similar. Even though the games are looking better apparently than they did last gen, like, I'm not seeing like, wow, this is something new. Now with Nintendo, I always felt like I was getting something new that I hadn't seen before. Like, you know, you went from Super Mario, like you went from the original 3 Super Mario games on the NES to Super Mario World, which felt like a huge technological leap. Then you went from Super Mario World to Super Mario 64, which was like, damn, 3D Mario, I've never seen this shit before. And then you went from Super Mario to Super Mario 64, or not Super Mario, Super Mario 64 to Super Mario Sunshine, which really, to tell you the truth, is the least technologically innovative of all the Mario games. But, like, in terms of, like, gameplay leap-wise, but, my God, it is really gorgeous looking. That game still looks good.
Yeah, the Sunshine's good, but that camera angle.
Yeah, the camera is garbage.
I don't know why you guys keep having about the camera, because
I never really had a problem with it.
At first I had a problem with it, how to use it, but once I learned the mechanics of the camera and how basically seamless it is, you can actually work around it.
Well, it wasn't so much the camera for me with the Sunshine. It was that I was coming off of Sunshine playing 64, and the thing is like when you're used to 64's gameplay, it was really hard to make that jump to Sunshine, because you have that muscle memory. Like even now, even when I'm playing Super Mario 64 on my Wii U, because I downloaded it for like I think it was like $1.99, $2.50, something like that. Like basically, because I had it on the Wii. Basically, I still felt like I still had that cadence and still had that rhythm because I had played that game so much when I was a kid. But then Nintendo knocked it out of the park with Super Mario Galaxy.
Yes.
Because I mean, you know, and its expansion, Super Mario Galaxy 2. Because really, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is basically an expansion. But it's a really good expansion because they added Yoshi. They added Yoshi. That's like, it feels like a completely different game with Yoshi. But I mean, each of those games were very different. Like Super Mario Galaxy, they had like, where can we go from Sunshine? Gravity. Gravity. You know what we left out when we added gravity? What? Yoshi.
They kind of did that with Mario Kart too.
Yeah, they did the same thing. Where can we
Gravity.
go? Gravity. Anti-gravity. Yeah, you're driving on the walls and shit. And
Brilliant.
I mean, with Super Mario 3D World, like, what else can we do? Okay, a multiplayer game, a 3D multiplayer game where everyone's like playing together, like in the same space. That's pretty decent. Plus, you're running up walls and shit.
I will say this with 3D Land and World, those two games missing link that was the game between Super Mario World and Super Mario 64. My God, I've been waiting for a game like that since the 64 days.
To tell you the truth, my favorite Mario game right now, and I know this is going to be blasphemy because people are like, oh man, Super Mario 64 is like the gem of all. My favorite 2D Mario game is still Super Mario World, like hands down.
Yeah.
Followed closely by Super Mario Wii U, because that game is tight. That game is, the platforming in that game, like Nintendo has consistently proven that they make like the best, they make some of the tightest platforms I've ever played, like 2D platformers. But my favorite 3D Mario used to be 64. I'm saying now it's Galaxy 2.
Yeah, I'm the same
Same
boat.
for me. Super Mario Brothers 3, as far as the 2D ones go, that's my main.
Yeah, I like 3 because
It's just so crazy. It's so different from the other one.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is. The only reason it's not like my number one, it's definitely my third favorite, is because some of the, like, I was one of those people that tried all the suits all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the frog suit was only useful for like 2 levels.
Yeah, they totally didn't utilize the frog suit.
That was my only.
But
pet
it
peeve
worked
with that
really
game.
well for
Yeah.
those levels. It was 2
I mean,
levels.
what other game can you kill the sun? I mean, literally, you just Mario straight up murders the sun.
Murdered
I mean,
the
that
sun.
is a bad motherfucker right there.
That's a fake son.
Like Bowser's like, I rule the underworld. Mario's like, motherfucker, I killed the sun.
What's up with all these angry celestial things in Nintendo games? You got the angry Killer Moon and Majora's Mask, and you got the angry sun.
I don't know about the Killer Moon. I can guess why he's mad about. I can guess why that other dude's mad. Oh shit, they got R-Type 2 on Amazon Underground
Dang, Squirrel.
for free. I'm getting it.
That ADD though.
I'm sorry, dude. Dude, I'm sorry, dude.
Oh,
It's R-Type. It's R-Type.
He's like the dog in Up. Squirrel.
No, that dog was cool. Please do not press that dog. No, start speaking in Japanese and shit.
Squirrel.
It's like, my name is Kevin.
I need to eat and leave though. I have prior engagement.
Yeah, dude. You go.
But I think I got screwed up because you invited me for the movie thing, right?
The movie thing is tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Okay,
it's
so
at,
that's what confused
7:30.
me. All right.
So peace out.
All right. Great discussion, guys.
We're glad you were here, even if it was
And
for just a little, just taste. It's still pretty cool.
But I'll be all in tomorrow. So.
Okay, cool.
All right. Peace out, fools.
All right.
Well,
Take care.
See ya.
Okay, so we covered Konami. Anything else we want to talk about?
I think I want to talk about what is going on with SNK. Have they completely lost their way or what?
Oh my
They never
God.
had. I mean, like you're acting like they just started fucking up. Look, listen. SNK fucked up a long time ago when they basically tried with the Neo Geo. Okay, that was.
we know about the history. We
Yeah.
were just freaking surprised that we thought that they would learn their freaking lesson, but it
No.
seems like not the case.
Why would they learn their lesson? Listen. Okay, look. If you're Neo Geo, right? Like, you made your money being a dick. Like that's how they made their money.
Oh, being a dick, as in having an advertisement saying you need a set of these to play this.
Well, no. Okay, think about it. Okay. SNK was an arcade cabinet. Like, they made arcade games, right? Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. Okay. So your market is selling shit in arcades, right? So why would you destroy your own market by trying to sell people arcade perfect ports in their home, like, and price yourself out of the market. Like SNK priced themselves out of the market. It's like, oh, okay, so I can spend 50 cents or be friends with someone who owns an arcade and get free play, or I can spend $800 on your console and then $200 on a game to play on your console. SNK, they already been fucking up. That's $1,000. This is $1,000 back in the day when $1,000 was like $1,500 now. Okay, like it was not cheap. Okay, that's a gaming PC.
At the time.
No, right now that's a decent gaming PC. $1,500 would get you a decent gaming PC right now.
Oh yeah. Sorry, my mistake.
So I mean, people just don't. I mean, SNK been fucking up. Sorry.
No, like
But-
the issue I have with them right now is like they used to be at least somewhat unique with their fighters, but then KOF 14 was shown and they're doing the exact carbon copy what everybody else is doing.
Because it's cheap. Look, they are strapped for cash. I knew they were strapped for cash when they I knew SNK was strapped for cash when they did that deal with those people, and they were like, oh well,
Oh, you mean that deal about the basically?
it was like a Neo Geo portable, and the people who did the shit were like just like stealing their lunch money. They were like SNK, like apparently they were doing some shady shit, the people that they licensed it to, and SNK was like, we're gonna take our license back, and they were like, no, you're not. Like they got bullied basically. I mean, SNK has not been shooting straight. Okay, shit has not been going well for them lately.
Yeah, because their revenue is like, I mean, their operating income is in the negatives and the net income's in the negatives, and they have less than 200 employees as of last year.
And that's all because, like, here's the thing. They made their money in the arcade scene. Now, instead of SNK trying to do a transition from the arcade scene, not leaving arcade entirely, but focusing more on consoles in a cost-effective way, they keep on trying to, like, Neo Geo Pocket, let's license this shit out. I mean, I know what they're trying to do. It's decent. They're pretty damn decent about it, but it's not gonna work. It's not, like, the only way I could see SNK coming back is if they need to find a good partner to maybe give them a bankroll to make, maybe partner with PlayStation or Microsoft or maybe even Nintendo, make like an exclusive game that they know they're going to get bank off of, like really get, like, maybe they develop it for one console, they like market the shit out of it and make some money and save themselves.
It seems like they're doing that right now with KOF 14, because that's so far that's only on PS4.
Oh well, okay, then that's what they're doing. Okay, well, okay, then they're trying to save themselves. Then I mean, they're doing the best they can. I mean, I don't. Here's the thing. For me, SNK was always like the second fiddle to Capcom. I know people are gonna get mad.
That's blasphemy.
I know people are gonna get mad at me, but I mean, to me, like, the pinnacle of 2D fighters back in that time was Street Fighter 2. And then, like, if you didn't have Street Fighter 2, okay, we'll play King of Fighters. Like, that's basically how I felt with SNK. The only SNK game that I actually liked was Samurai Showdown. I really do like Samurai Showdown. But other than that, like, I was never really all that impressed with SNK. So I'm sorry. I know some people might get mad, but I don't care because that's my opinion. Okay, deal with it.
So are they using microtransactions?
God, no.
Oh, okay.
Also, you talking about at least the whole arcade roots. Don't be like Capcom. They're not even making Street Fighter V for arcade cabinets in Japan.
No, because they're getting more money from because they've got Sony bankrolling them, so they don't have to.
And speaking of I saw I don't know. Today I saw a trailer for the Halo 5, their rec system, and they seem to. I know people are complaining about Halo 5 having microtransactions to get like rec points, but I think they're kind of finding a middle ground because in order to use them, like you can't just buy all the like rec points or rec cards or whatever they're called and be like this super powered Spartan. You actually have to level up to use them. So you're still forced to level up even if you buy all the rec points.
Dude, I don't know because I'm not gonna buy it and don't really like. I mean, for me, and I said this in a podcast. Halo for me ended with Halo, like Halo 4. Like I'm done with Halo, like or Halo 3. Like I don't want to. Like that was the end of the story for me. Like I don't need to play more Halo at this point. I'm done. You know, it had a great ending. Everything's taken care of. Okay, time to move on. They need a new protagonist because I'm tired of Master Chief. Yes.
I want to go back to SNK here, just for a quick second. Now, here's my pet peeve with KOF 14. I am the many or the few, but I actually adored SNK's sprites, even the animation.
Sorry.
Well,
It's
you have to make
season already?
Yeah, you have to open some space for your nostrils, but I digress. But yeah, I mean, to me, with 14, I was like, are they so strapped for cash that they can't even reuse the sprites from 13, basically 12, but and the other characters that they haven't done yet, they could have just went with that. But apparently they really are so strapped for cash that they can't even do that, which they've been doing that for decades, at least with the KO Fighters franchise.
Excuse me, but I'm gonna bounce. So I'll talk to you guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
Peace out.
See ya.
All right, take care, Kanoshi.
You too.
Yeah, I mean, as in, just make some little touch-ups with the existing sprites and so on. But no, I guess they really are that strapped for cash.
Yeah, but I mean, like, people just don't understand. Like, the old school developers, especially the ones who made bad financial decisions years ago, shit is not going well for them now.
You would think after 2000, which I think it was 3-4 years later they bought the company back with RP, put Claymore behind it, and you would think, oh, they've learned the lesson, everything's hunky dory. Guess not. But no. I guess I should have seen. I should have seen the reality how KOF 12 came about. I digress.
Well, we should have known when they were licensing out the stuff and it just wasn't working that, shit wasn't going to go well, but whatever. Anything else you guys want to cover?
Oh yeah, I know how much you rant and rave about SNK, but come on, there's at least one franchise in that company you like.
I did. I said that I really like
Showdown.
Samurai Showdown.
Oh yeah.
I love Samurai Showdown. Samurai Showdown is one of my favorite games because it has the dude who looks like a classical samurai. He looks like a Mitsurugi without the,
You talking about Haomaru?
Yeah, he looks like Mitsurugi without the 5 o'clock shadow. And that's just friggin' cool. I'm sorry, samurais are cool.
Okay.
I was about to ask, not even King of Monsters or Ikari Warriors. I'm not even going to mention Athena because that is.
I'll tell you the truth. I really do like King of Monsters. I had that. I had that game on Neo Geo CD. King of Monsters. I had King of the Monsters 2 on SNES. I actually like King of the Monsters. It's a very interesting game. It's basically like get these huge monsters just beating the shit out of each other. I like that.
Yeah, you guys missing out on one IP though. It's my favorite SNK IP, Metal Slug.
Yeah. Can't go wrong with that.
I like Metal Slug. I actually do like Metal Slug. My only problem with Metal Slug is that it kind of has like Metal Slug is the kind of take it or leave it type of game, you know? Like either you like it or you don't like it. There's no like in between.
What's there not to like? When you eat too much food, you turn fat, and your knife becomes a fork.
that is kind of funny. No, my favorite parts of Metal Slug are the vehicles, because some of them are insane, like the camel.
Oh yeah, and then that announcer's funny too. Rocket launcher.
Now I'll tell you what would make Metal Slug great. If they made a Metal Slug like set in like a time thing, where you could like go into different times, like fantastical creatures. So a vehicle would be like a dragon, or you're like riding on like a friggin' horse, or like like it would be. I mean, I think Metal Slug has always been the most fun and kind of like ostentatious of their series, and I like that because it's like you could tell they have fun making that game.
Yeah, especially the third one. My goodness, one of the best games I ever played. That last stage, I kid you not, is like 30 minutes long.
I believe it.
Dude, get the anthology. You can get it for like 30 on PS2 or 30 on Wii.
Well, that's still on my list. Metal Slug is still on my list.
I have the PS2 version.
Metal Slug.
Well, I gotta ask you this, Cage. Does the PS2 version of Metal Slug actually has the arranged soundtracks in them that you can actually they could actually be played while playing the game?
I'm not entirely sure. You talking about the anthology version?
Yes.
Oh no, it's straight up arcade ports.
Okay.
But it does come with a sound test. That's always a plus. I'm sorry, that should be now. People always want to talk about such and such a standard like voice chat, but I'm sorry, but something like a sound test, that should be a standard.
Like, and not only that, if you have a game that's known for its soundtrack, God damn it, then you know what? You need to have arranged music. I'm sorry. You need to have the original and arranged. I'm sorry. You can't be sitting there giving me some shit that's like, oh well, like it's too expensive, or we can't do that. I'm looking at Nintendo too.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for that that Super Mario Bros. 3 athletic team in piano style.
But that yeah, you're right. But that Mario Kart 8 music though, my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Did I mention how much of a jazz head I am too?
Yeah, like not even that, just live. There's something about watching live music where the dudes are actually into the shit. Like I was watching it, and like I used to be in the jazz ensemble when I was in high school, and I was watching, and I'm like, God damn! Like when you see musicians playing some shit and they're actually into the shit, it's like, damn.
They're like in a whole different space.
Well, live music is always better than
synthesized.
Well, live music always sounds better.
I would
than,
say always.
Arranged.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Live music, like especially when the energy is hot in the crowd, is like there's just something about it that makes it feel more real than say something that's being played on a just like kind of like arranged kind of like. I'll give an example of what I mean. Like I recently went to a concert for an old like 70s, 80s R&B band. And they were singing, and they were like going, I mean, they were getting down into the shit, and I was like, damn, this shit sounds great. Now, it didn't sound like it would on a CD, or if you like got it where it's all cleaned up. There were imperfections, but the imperfections somehow made it more real. That being said, there's always, stuff that doesn't work, like, you know what I'm talking about, shit that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to explain.
Yeah. All right. Going back to what Konami and whatnot, people are always talking about I want third-party support on Nintendo consoles, but I'm like, the third parties has changed. Those same third parties that was so great during the NES and SNES era, they're not the same. Those kind of games and whatnot that we liked, majority of those on indies develop it now.
They don't exist anymore, first of all.
Unfortunately. That's why I'm like, I don't understand what people mean when they say they want third-party support.
No, I think, here's the thing. Third-party support, it's not that we as Nintendo gamers don't want third-party support. We want good third-party support.
Exactly.
We want the indies are third parties. They're giving great support. They don't sit there and say, oh, well, this version is coming to the PS4, this version is coming to the Xbox 360, and fuck this version that's on the Wii U. Or they don't say this version is coming to the Wii U, this version's coming to the PS4, fuck this version's on Xbox 360. They try to do their best across all consoles. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, why is it that it used to not be a problem way back then? Like, look at Street Fighter 2 and how many consoles and handhelds it's been ported over.
Yeah, I mean, look, Street Fighter 2 was on SNES and the Sega Genesis. It was on the TurboGrafx. It was on the MSX. It was on everything at the time. Plus, it was on a lot of handhelds, and we didn't give a shit. If you liked it, you got it. I mean, I don't know why people think everything has to be fucking. I
have to correct myself about Jim Sterling. Actually, he's literally said that he wanted the Metal Gear franchise to die just because, well, since Kojima's not handling anything about Metal Gear anymore, he would feel like any future games that comes out would be inferior.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think that any further Metal Gear games would be inferior. I just think that I think Metal Gear kind of needs a break. You know what I mean? Like, Metal Gear there needs to be something else.
Needs to be something else, like the Pro Evolution Soccer.
Well, I mean, not just that. Like, Kojima needs a break. Okay, the dude has either done or been a part of 44 goddamn Metal Gear games. The man needs to do something different.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, even Shigeru Miyamoto does other shit besides Mario. You know, the man did other shit besides Mario.
I was gonna say, or even Zelda.
Or Zelda, Mario's people always like to say that these franchises are milk, but I mean, there's like 7 mainline Mario games. There's only 7. It's not like, and when I say mainline, I mean like the game follows the core of a Mario game. Like, you've got the 3, you've got the 2 Marios on the NES, Mario 1 and Mario 3. Princess gets kidnapped, you go through some worlds to find her. Those are the Mario 2 doesn't even have that, so I'm not going to call it a Mario game. Then you got Super Mario World on the SNES. I know some people say, well, what about Super Mario World 2, aka Yoshi's Island? That's the first Yoshi's Island game. That's not a Mario game.
Yeah.
So then you get Mario 64. That's number 3. That's the 4th Mario game. Then you get Mario Sunshine, number 5. Then you get Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. And yes, I'm including those as one game because Mario Galaxy 2 is basically an expansion to Mario Galaxy 1. It's not a brand new game, although Yoshi does kind of change it up a little bit. They use a lot of the same assets and stuff. So that's like a second. That's just one game with an expansion. Then you get Mario 3D Land or 3D World. That's 7. That's 7 mainline console Mario games. That's over 30-something years. Okay? Over 30 years. 7 games over 30 years, that is not a milked franchise. Because Metal Gear has been around like 20, I want to say 24, 25 years. That shit, they have 44 goddamn games. That franchise is milked. And I know some people say, well, not all of those Metal Gear games are mainline. You're right. Let's say 50% of them are mainline Metal Gear games. Like, if you want to get more of the story and understand the world, half of them. 22 goddamn games in 30 years, that's too many goddamn games. So, anything else you guys want to cover?
Why is a 2D fighting game with 3D character models like Street Fighter 5 using Unreal Engine 4?
Yeah, that's I have no idea because Unreal is good for 3D games. It's not really good for
Then again, it's not just that game either. What's that Igarashi game, Bloodstain?
Yeah, it's a 2D game. I don't know why they keep on making 2D games. I don't like. Why would you want to make a 2D game in an engine that's really designed to showcase 3D games? I don't get that.
To be honest, when I first heard that the spiritual successor of the Castlevania game uses such engine, I really thought that they're actually going to make a three-dimensional spiritual successor to Castlevania.
I don't even know why you thought that because 3D Castlevania suck.
I'm sorry, but that was logical thinking. I'm thinking of mine. Because
no, that was illogical thinking because 3D Castlevania suck. All of them have sucked. Like
64 Legacy.
64 sucked. The sequel wasn't as bad as the first one, but it still wasn't that good. Castlevania for some reason Castlevania doesn't work in a 3D space. It just doesn't.
But then you would think they learn from those mistakes.
No, because they kept on trying. Because you had 3 Castlevanias on the PS2, like 4 of them, and they were all kind of like bad.
Dang it! You think the Mario platform did it right? Sonic the Hedgehog games almost, or to an extent.
They tried to do it right, but it still didn't work for them.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that Sonic doesn't work well in a 3D world. It doesn't work in a 3D world. Like if you have to kind of do it in a Sonic works well in a 2D world. And if you're joining us, if you use the Q&A, we will answer questions at some time. Oh, Anderson Archilla and String Genie and Yin Yan Yao and all of them.
Anderson Archilla.
But we're not going to get to that yet. We'll get to that at the end. We were talking about how all these developers who have newly gone indie are like trying to make shit with Unreal, like an engine that's really designed for 3D style games and not for 2D style games. I don't know. I don't understand. I guess it's easier to make these games using Unreal, but ease of use doesn't mean it's the best way to do it, if you get what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Like, it's easy to just buy fast food. It's very easy, but making your food homemade is actually better for you. So it may be more of a pain in the ass, but it's better for you in the long run. So, I mean, I don't, whatever. They'll do whatever they want. It's their business. I can't tell them what to do. Whatever. You were going to bring up, KH Anime has brought up a ton of unfinished business topics. But Triple M has some unfinished topics he wanted to bring up too. So, go.
Yeah, there was some podcast ago that I overheard um, one of Poppy 2K's guests
Mm-hmm.
saying that after he seen Nintendo releasing or making Super Mario Maker, he really thought that just by that scenario, Nintendo doesn't have anything or doesn't have any more ideas for. I'm not sure if he said it specifically for what type of game, but I guess he might have he went by that Nintendo that doesn't have any ideas of making another 2D platform. When I heard him say that, I was like, I used to think like that too with Nintendo, and not once, not even twice. There was many times that I was proven wrong. So then a few days later, I saw an article on Nintendo Enthusiast titled "Can 2D Mario Continue Past Super Mario Maker?" And it was one of those articles that I really wanted to say, okay, these guys are going Nintendo fanboy here, but by reading the articles for this one, he came up with a very great conclusion. Because for one, since Super Mario, in hindsight, Super Mario Maker is actually grid based, so yes, you can't have slopes to slide on in that nature. So I was thinking, yeah, maybe they could they would make an update that you can make slopes in Super Mario Maker. But then I also thought maybe they're going to use that for next installments of Mario Maker. But I digress. But that's besides the point. But all I'm saying. He also made a good point saying that when he was while he's playing Super Mario Maker and not just creating levels, actually playing other people's levels, he noticed that his experience with those levels, when he goes from level to level, it feels disjointed. Like none of those levels were actually cohesively made or after another. And you can say that that's also something lacking of Super Mario Maker, that there's no even for a Mario platformer that basically has no story during the gameplay. It's just the intro and the ending. That's it for the story. But even for a type of game like that, when you're playing a Mario platform, you basically know, or should I say guided, or know how the progress. No, not know. You literally see the progression just in the gameplay. As in, you move from here, you move from one region to the next region, and so forth. So that another instance that Mario Maker is lacking when it comes to traditional 2D titles or traditional 2D Mario titles. So, with me, the question basically brought up that, or the basic understand that people might think that Nintendo has no more ideas for 2D platforming, or at least Mario games. I tend to disagree. Anyone else?
Yeah, they're not gonna run out of ideas. I mean, Mario Maker's a good game, obviously, because I also put in like almost 90 hours into it. But anyways, yeah, they're gonna have more. They got plenty of ideas for 2D Mario. I mean, this Mario Maker was fun and all, but it's kind of like basic I mean, the creativity's there, but you don't have every single tool and every single asset from the Mario games.
And even if you did, I mean, let's just keep it real. Look, I know a lot of people are making some really fun levels. I've played Mario Maker. Haven't gotten it yet. I've played it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, there is no one making levels on Mario Maker that compare to what Tokyo EAD makes with Mario games. I'm sorry.
Really? Really? Not even other developers?
No. I mean, look, I don't care. They're like, well, the guy who makes Castlevania made a Mario Maker level. Michel Ancel made a Mario Maker level. I'm like, good for them. You ain't Tokyo EAD. I mean, I'm sorry. Look, let me put it this way. Someone who makes Rayman games, and yes, I know people like, I love Rayman. Rayman, as a platformer, does not hold a candle to a 2D Mario platformer. I'm sorry.
And also, it has its own way or its own unique style of.
Well, I mean, it's two different development schools. Michel Ancel makes his games a certain way. Tokyo ED makes their games a certain way. They're two different design philosophies. Michel Ancel's French. He's a French game designer. And French games tend to be developed in a different way than like the rest of the world. That's just how it is. Because I have quite a few games that were made by French studios, and they play very differently than other games. It's like, yeah, this game plays a little bit differently than you would expect from other games in that genre.
Heck, even HAL Laboratory compared to EAD, Kirby and Mario games.
Basically,
they're definitely not the same.
But you want to know something funny? A lot of the people that work at EAD now came from HAL Laboratories. What does that tell you? Exactly. Exactly. Like, there's certain people that can rise to the level, and some people can't. And when they rise to the level, they get swooped up and taken in. But if you ain't that good, you just ain't that good. I mean, it depends on it's a level of skill that most people don't have. What was your second topic, Triple M?
All right, my second topic is taking longer than expected. Oh, yeah. Now, another article by Nintendo enthusiasts titled apologies. How Nintendo saved platformers in the 7th generation. This is actually really funny to me because ironically enough, even I didn't pay much attention to it at the times that platformers were basically dying until recently, or even ever since Nintendo brought back.
No, they're still very much dead.
I was gonna say they were gonna bring back New Super Mario Brothers for the DS, and that's only the 2D platforms, by the way. But when they said platformers, they really do mean both 2D and 3D. It's kind of a funny scenario or the irony of it when you look back to it when Nintendo released Mario Galaxy and New Super Mario Bros. DS. Those two games alone kind of broke the myth that platformers can't be made anymore or even be mainstream. But
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
You guys already know that's my favorite genre, platformers.
You know, I have to disagree with you about the platformers were dead. It's not that platformers are dead. It's that the publishers who used to make platformers wanna they don't want to make them anymore. So basically, they want to tell us, oh, you can't make these games. It's like, that's bullshit.
Yes.
You know, I've always liked these games. Don't fucking tell me that you don't want to make them. Don't say that you don't want. If you don't want to make them, just say you don't want to make them. Don't say that they're not popular anymore.
And the thing is, even to this day, when it comes to 2D platformers, they shouldn't even be physically made. But god dang it, you got New Super Mario Bros. DS proved you wrong. Like, was it 5 or 6 years ago? Then we have Shovel Knight getting a physical release.
Yes.
Let me put it this way.
That's one.
Not only that. Okay, you've got Shovel Knight, you've got Yooka-Laylee, you've got people want 3D platformers. They're appealing. They look awesome, and if they're made well, they're fun. And like everyone's trying to keep away from platformer. Like, okay, you play Sunset Overdrive. That game's a platformer.
Yep.
It's a platform with guns, and it sold like shit because the audience for that game is not on that console.
I'll even give special nod for that Ratchet and Clank remake.
The what?
Ratchet and Clank.
You mean where they're like gonna yeah, that's the only reason I'm getting a PS4 is for that game. Like that's it. Like I really want a Ratchet and Clank remake, so I'm gonna buy a PS4 just to play it. Like that tells you something about my gaming prowess.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to point the irony in this article's title, where it's saying how Nintendo saved platformers in the 7th generation, and for some bloody reason, Nintendo is still the whipping boy.
How so?
Well, it's just because Nintendo's not in the times, or Nintendo just don't get it.
They don't have enough. They don't have the features.
Yeah. I mean, the only feature that matters when you're a video game company is that you make games that are good. That's the only. For me, that is the only feature that matters. I don't give a shit about. Like graphics are nice, but if your game plays like shit, or you have anti-consumer policies, then I don't care.
Yeah.
I think some people are just fucking stupid, though. I mean, let's just keep it real. Some people are just fucking stupid. A lot of dumbass people running around this world. Way to go, dumbass. Sorry. So, I mean, let's just keep it real. Everyone is kind of pissed off. Like everyone has their favorite consoles, their favorite types of games. But I mean, if you had fun, like a lot of gamers buy into this. Well, now that I'm a certain age, I can't play certain games. No, look, I enjoyed Mario games when I was a kid. I still enjoy Mario games. I'm not gonna let my age stop me from enjoying running around, jumping on shit. That's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that is fun. Now, I mean, you know,
like, my question is, why is it that it's a problem for people to enjoy Mario games, like if they're like over the age of like 12, but yet these same people, they have no problem with stuff like My Little Pony.
I don't understand that because I don't know anyone who likes My Little Pony. You mean bronies?
Yeah, I know people in their 30s that like that stuff.
Bronies, yeah. I never. The only thing I know about My Little Pony is that when I was a kid, there was a TV like on the Disney Channel before Care Bears, but after like the good Disney cartoons would come on, they'd have My Little Pony Tales. But they brought that shit back, and they're grown ass men who like it, so I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's fine. That's fine for some reason.
But I'm not gonna get into that because it's time to get these questions. Basically, suffice it to say, they can do whatever the hell they want. I'm gonna enjoy my games. I don't give a shit what anyone says, and if they don't like it, they can kiss my black ass. So our next this question is from Anderson Archilla. is you think the recent strike by voice actors towards game companies might make those companies reconsider making heavily story-based games?
Oh, thank you, Archilla, because that was something else I wanted to bring up too.
Well, he beat us to the punch. Do I think that that's gonna? I disagree, because look at The Legend of Zelda. That's a heavily story-based game, but has very little voice acting in it.
Ding, 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 ding. That's the key word there.
That's voice acting, ain't it?
Little to no voice acting. I say.
And the occasional ha 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 ha. That's about it. You know, I mean, and the thing is that it depends on how good of a developer you are. If you're good enough, like, here's the thing. Everyone thinks that giving a developer all the tools they need makes them into a good developer. But the true talent of a developer is shown when they are limited and how good they are with their limitations.
Yeah,
so,
I would say there is one voice actor that I swear he gets worked to death. Nolan North.
Oh yeah, I'm tired of him. he needs to go someplace and hide. I'm tired of Nolan North. Fuck him. Yeah, I said it. They need to give Kevin Conroy back his job, because Kevin Conroy, I like listening to him talk.
But then it begs the question of when these developers actually when the features hit the fan and they really can't get voice actors. Would you think that some of the developers or some publishers will go back to their tried and true method, as in what The Legend of Zelda is doing I'm still doing today, and you think for them it would still be profitable? Because I'm having this situation that when a game comes, this day and age, when a game comes out that is pretty much synonymous with voice acting, it might probably not sell as much just for that.
You know,
now, I know this sounds petty, but oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it myself. I couldn't even think something like that until what I've seen just on the YouTube community.
You know, I would normally agree with you, but here's all I'm going to say. I think gamers have started. I think as more gamers have come into the market, it's become more diluted, and it's become more mainstream. Mainstream gamers don't have the luxury of having played games we did. Like, the most story-heavy games I ever played when I was a kid were RPGs. RPGs didn't have voice. You had to read shit. It was text.
Exactly.
So for me, I don't need voice acting for a game to be good. Now, if you're a new gamer who started gaming during the PS2, during the 6th and 7th gen, then voice acting is important to you. For me, I started gaming during the 3rd and 4th gen. So voice acting for me, I'm like, I can take it or leave it.
Yeah, and then 5th generation is hit or miss.
Because I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I can read. So, you know, like, I'm good with text.
Because 5th generation gamers started voice acting, and we all know the famous, what is a man? A miserable pile of secrets. Enough talk, have at you.
No. Not that. It's, what's a paladin?
Well, that wasn't 5th gen. That was before 5th gen. That was on the PC with Ultima 9.
But I bet that this day and age, not many people know what's a paladin.
Yeah, that was fucked up. Okay, our next question is from String Genie, the stringer. SNK, it's not a question, it's a comment. SNK can't come back because the stuff that was good back then isn't what people want now, and artists that made them great don't want to make the crap people want now. You could be right, String Genie.
Yes, that rings some truth to it.
You could be right. I don't know if you're 100% right, but there's definitely some truth into it. This next one is from Anderson Archilla. Don't all those Unreal 4 vids with Nintendo assets seem extra pointless when one remembers Nintendo makes their own engines from the ground up? on a side note, anyone else tired of people saying they want a new proper Metroid game with that engine? I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 were all made using Unreal 1.5. So if you want to play a Metroid game with Unreal, go out. If you have a Wii or a GameCube, or you can buy the Metroid trilogy on your Wii U, go get the Metroid Prime trilogy on your Wii U. If you really want to play a Metroid Prime with the Unreal Engine. Other than that, shut the fuck up and buy Metroid Federation Force when it comes out next year. That's my advice to those of you who want to play a Metroid game. You sure people... Hell, even Metroid Prime Hunters was made using the Unreal Engine, and that was on the DS, so people need to shut the fuck up.
Which, that is really surprising to me. Still,
yeah, it was made using a scaled-down Unreal Engine. You sure people don't confuse having faith in certain IPs with having faith in certain companies? Even though lots of companies are in the toilet, they still think that they are the end-all, be-all of the industry must be catered to. No, when I say IPs, I mean like third parties that hold IPs. I'm not talking about first-party people who love for console manufacturers. Those people have faith in the company versus faith in their IPs. Unless you're a Nintendo fan, then you have faith in both because you can't play their shit unless you have their shit. So that's kind of like the... They're mutually inclusive.
Unless they're Pokemon Shuffle or that other type of game.
Yeah, our next question is from Anderson. Once again, should all games strive for innovation? I'm pretty sure that that's part of what's holding back a new F-Zero. And some games were hurt when they tried something new. Who wants to get on this first?
I would say not all. And I was in this camp before all the faces hit the fan. But I was in this camp that even if there was no innovation in a specific series or franchise, like not making anything new, but just advance the story, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Until when the very basic nature of making a game works properly, then yes, you have a problem with me.
I feel the same way too, because regarding F-Zero, it's like, it's F-Zero. They can only do but so much because it's a futuristic racing game. They can do have story mode, but there's only so much you can do with F-Zero.
Yeah, the people who are really have the golden F-Zero was always it was a showcase for the hardware. That's all F-Zero is. It's a showcase for the hardware, for whatever hardware was on. The original F-Zero was a showcase for the different modes on the SNES. F-Zero, the one F-Zero X, I think, was the one on the N64. That was a showcase for the power of the N64. F-Zero GX and AX are showcases of the technology of the time. GX for the GameCube, AX for the arcade machines. It's all basically a showcase for technology. At this point, though, technology has advanced so much, and it's like the Wii U is the most powerful Nintendo console in existence thus far. So, what more can they do? What more can they show,
you should say it this way. Not the most powerful, but definitely the most efficient console.
Each successive generation of Nintendo console, they make a more powerful console. Right now, the Wii U is their most powerful console.
Okay. Yeah, then yes, I'll agree.
Of the Nintendo consoles. I said Nintendo consoles, so I wasn't including anyone else with that statement.
Sorry, I wasn't listening right.
Yeah, then it's the most powerful than Nintendo consoles. And if you really want to play an F-Zero game, go play Shinnen's game that's coming out this December, because that's basically F-Zero. So yeah.
And they have Fast Racing Neo. Shinnen just said that they have the announcer from F-Zero.
Yeah.
Announcing.
So you get your F-Zero game. Now shut the fuck up and stop whining.
More ways than one.
Next question. Does the sheep mentality extend to directors as well? The gaming media says a game is the Citizen Kane of gaming, people believe it. So if they say some guy's a genius, then they'll believe it. I think that I think what happened is that a lot of the gaming has become casualized. And so basically, like, casual people don't really ask a lot of questions. They don't do critical thinking. They just run with shit. And so when you run with shit, you basically, like, you don't think, okay, why is this narrative being pushed? Now, me personally, because I'm a sociology and poli-sci major, like, I always ask, okay, what is the agenda behind this person doing something? I always question the motives of what everyone does. And because of that, I kind of, like, I can't just believe shit at face value. I don't. Unless you're my family, like close family, like my mother, my girlfriend, like my aunts, you know, someone that I really, really trust. I'm not going to trust what you say at face value. I can't, because, you know, I have a critical mind. I have to look at things and be like, okay, this person said this, but what the fuck did they actually mean when they said it? And that's kind of a problem for me sometimes. But when it comes to me being in business, and when I was worked on Capitol Hill, it's great, because you can't roll me, you can't fool me. I'm not falling for your propaganda.
I mean, heck, you don't even have to be a rocket scientist. Rocket launcher. Sorry, I have to say that.
Okay, people that made the best Castlevanias left and now work at Treasure. So Castlevania fans. I agree with you. The people who made my favorite Castlevania, which is my favorite pure, straight-up Castlevania game, is Super Castlevania 4. So basically, the people who made that left and went to Treasure. Now, Treasure makes some of my favorite games. They made Gunstar Heroes. They made Ikaruga. Yeah. They made, I think they also made that game on the N64 with the chick who just shook enemies and shit and threw them and shit.
Talking about Mischief Makers.
Yeah, Mischief Makers. And Bang.io Spirits. I mean, Treasure makes a lot of really good games. They're kind of like Platinum. They make really good games that get critical acclaim but don't sell well, which sucks for them, because they make really good games. They're old school developers. That was a statement, not a question. Another statement from String Genie: if you can give $1 billion to a franchise, but if it ain't the same guy, it will never, never be the same. I have to agree and disagree with you. I agree that for most developers, most publishers and developers, that's true.
Yeah.
I would say Nintendo is the exception to the rule, because Shigeru Miyamoto hasn't made, like, he's not really heavily, like, he wasn't heavily involved in the last Mario game, Mario 3D World, but that's still a Mario game. If someone told you Shigeru Miyamoto wasn't involved with that game, you'd say they were lying, because it's very, like, they kept the essence of what Mario should be from throughout the entire thing. Shigeru Miyamoto, when he retires, isn't going to be working on the Zelda games, but god damn it, it doesn't feel like Shigeru Miyamoto said, fuck it, I'm done, because they still hold up to a certain level of quality. But most companies don't grow their talent like that. So basically, you're right that most, like, when the talent leaves, it's over.
And heck, in Nintendo's R&D, there's even a schooling of how to make specific franchises.
Well, yeah, because that's their business. Nintendo makes their money off of their games. So, I mean, they can't afford to have people fucking up.
Anyone still remember that video clip that recently was shown? I'm not sure if it was on Nintendo's YouTube channel or not, but it basically started with a young Shigeru Miyamoto back in the 80s actually going to explain how they make their games.
I know I haven't seen that video, but I wouldn't be surprised if people were really into it, because no one makes games like Nintendo. Like, no one makes games like they do. So clearly, I mean, they've made a lot of fucking money off their games. So
yeah, let's see if
they must have been doing something.
Let's see if I can look that up so I can show it to you. But I digress. Moving on.
So our next question is from Anderson Archilla. They're not even out yet, but it seems everyone but Nintendo has VR headsets now. You think if Nintendo tried to make a Virtual Boy 2, people would rage and say they're stealing from everyone else again? I don't think they'd make here's the thing. I don't think virtual reality is where technology is going, because at the end of the day, you're just strapping some shit to your head, and that can't be healthy.
Oh, very close to your eyes.
I think Nintendo is basically trying to create their own. Nintendo wants to bring people together through gaming. VR is basically your own virtual reality. You're not really bringing people together with that shit. So I think it goes against the Nintendo philosophy. What I think is that I think VR is going to be a fad like the Kinect was. I think it's gonna be hot for the first 2 or 3 years. I think unless they come out with some really good games for virtual reality that don't make people sick or don't suck, it's gonna come out kind of hot, and then it's gonna fizzle in about 2-3 years. It's probably gonna die in 5. Because the thing about technology is that technology is driven by necessity. Right? Like someone says, wouldn't it be cool if you could do this? This would cut out like 3 steps out of your day. No one was like, oh my god, I need to have some shit strapped to my head, because they tried this shit in the 90s and it didn't work. So they're going to try it again with better technology, but you're still strapping shit to your head. I mean, it hasn't really changed functionally. It's gotten better graphically, but it hasn't changed. It hasn't gotten any... It sucks. I mean, it's not what it should be, so... Our next question is from Yin Yang Yao. What's the biggest load of Taurus you've ever heard? I can imagine how big that pile was. I don't know what Taurus is. I guess you mean shit, bullshit, bovine scatology.
Now, actually,
the biggest load of bullshit that I've heard thus far, in terms of like video gaming, I guess is your question. The biggest load of bullshit I've heard thus far comes from Microsoft.
No.
Yeah.
Don't take away my answer, please.
The biggest load of bullshit I've heard is them saying we're focusing more on first-party games because we care about the consumer and we want to build value in our console. Now, the reason you're switching over to first-party games is because the blank checkbook that basically you were given by Steve Ballmer to just give money to third parties for shit has been closed. They took that checkbook and they threw it in the fireplace and burned it. So now you got to use your budget on your own shit, and you're probably gonna fail at it. So, yeah, that's the biggest load of horse shit I've heard. KH Enemy, what's the biggest load of bullshit you've heard?
That's a tough one. That really is tough because I've seen how much I've heard over this generation from all the third parties and Sony and Microsoft. Probably for anything that has to do with like anything. Oh, we're not going to use DLC. Oh, this won't have microtransactions. Knowing good well it's going to happen regardless because these big third party publishers are greedy.
Yeah, because I mean they don't want to. I mean, why spend money? Why just make a game when you could make a game and milk the shit out of your consumer base for like years after the fact? Yeah, I don't understand that.
Well, mine, and I really thought you were going to take this away from me, Red Fox, but yeah, anyway, I digress. But mine, the biggest crock of Taurus, and that's a great one, Yin Yang Yao, the Pokemon reference, but I would like to see feces of a Taurus, but I digress. The biggest crock of pile of Taurus that I've heard is from Microsoft, and I can't believe I didn't see it from miles away when they said we're bringing back backwards compatibility.
Yeah, I mean that was some bullshit, but the thing is like it's not. I mean, we already know it's not backwards compatibility.
Yeah, actually, I thought from the whole sense and purpose of the word backwards compatibility, compatibility. Right now, I'm even slipping my words. Is that you can finally uh, uh, play your last gen's games or last gen discs, as in the 360 and the Xbox and the original Xbox. You can play those games on your Xbox One with no bloody strings attached. That means you can play them even offline. You don't have to be online or all those checkings BS hogwash. But no, it wasn't the true sense of the word, and that's what's. Oh my God!
Yeah, they were. I mean, they were full of shit. I mean, but I mean, Microsoft's been lying about that shit for years because they weren't planning. Like, it's not backwards compatibility. It's emulation. It's
Yeah,
digital emulation. It's a virtual console, if you will. Which they should, since they stole that shit from Nintendo, they need to give them some money.
Speaking about Microsoft, I actually wanted to put this up. Specifically, Phil Spencer. When he talked about the whole console war BS thing, that it's not very great for the industry. Now, I'm not sure, but anyone who knows about this, please confirm about this, because maybe this is hearsay coming from me. But I've heard that there was plenty of gamers, and I'm using air quotations, by the way, was not a fan of what Spencer said, like denouncing console wars. Almost to the point that people basically bashed the guy.
Eh, like here's all I'm gonna say about Phil Spencer. Saying that he's against console wars. Personally speaking, I think it's just PR bullshit. Because the thing is this: if the Xbox One wasn't losing Microsoft fucking tons of money, he wouldn't give a shit. Like, you wouldn't hear any of this shit. So, I mean, he's saying what he needs to say to not look as bad as it must be, like, behind the facade. In terms of, like, console wars not being good for the industry, I don't know about that. I mean, the N64, I mean, the SNES, Genesis console war was fucking awesome. We got some great games out of that rivalry between those two companies. And
yeah, great games, but the advertisements or the ads were definitely a cringe for me, since I actually.
No, man. The ads were great too. Sega does what Nintendo don't, and now you're playing with power, Nintendo power, and you know, like even during the 5th gen with like Crash Bandicoot, they're afraid of me. They're afraid of Crash. I mean, you know, I mean, gaming was fun back then, and you had console wars, but there was like they didn't like it wasn't this bullshit that you got now with Sony and Microsoft where they're like, yeah, we got 8 gigabytes of this, we got DDR5, and we got teraflops and tittyflops. No, back then we talked about fucking games. It was about the games, okay? That's what it was about. See, now the console war is about technical specs, and that doesn't mean shit, because at the end of the day, I don't care how much technology you put in this box. It's made to play fucking games.
Well, I didn't love Mario kicking Sonic in Mario's.
Yeah, you're breaking up, dude. Yeah, you're breaking up. Okay, someone is playing Mario Maker and playing the Mario Brothers 3 template.
Me? I've been playing this since like 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, look, all I'm gonna say is this: console wars, like true console wars, were actually great. Like even back in the day before my time with Intellivision versus what was it called? What the hell was it called? The Atari, where like they actually got George Plimpton to be like, this is a better system because it actually looks like the actual real thing. Like, I mean, it was just, I mean, that shit was so awesome. The shit we have now is just garbage. I'm sorry. This is not a console war, first of all. It's just fanboys arguing about shit that's meaningless in the grand scheme of things.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I was just saying that that artwork of Mario and Sonic beating the snot out of each other, that actually made me cry back in the day.
Yeah, no, look, listen. That shit was
characters.
No, that shit was funny to me. Like, like the console wars of the 5th gen is funny to me because Crash Bandicoot, Sony actually paid for that commercial. They're afraid of me, and Mario is still rolling along, and Crash Bandicoot's ass is stuck in a dumpster somewhere with a firecracker up his ass. So
actually, that Crash commercial, that was more of acceptance with me.
All I'm saying is this: it was hilarious because all that shit. At the end of the day, it was about the games. And look, who had the strongest IPs? Not Sony. Not Sega.
Well, I was going to say not Crash.
Not Crash.
He basically crashed.
Crash is dead. But you know who's still rolling along? Nintendo's IPs. So that tells you something. Console wars don't mean shit. Game wars. That's what we need to have. Who has the better games? As a matter of fact, that'll be next week's next week's BS Busters. Fuck the console wars, game wars. Our next question from Yin Yang Yao is: unless exploration is priority, I'd wonder how a game might look if they go in a different direction. I mean, I liked Paper Mario, but Sticker Star, I'm indifferent to Super Paper Mario. No, I mean, I liked Paper Mario, but not Sticker Star. But you're indifferent to Super Paper Mario. My question: which game do you want to see change game types? Actually, not so much a game-changing game sites. What I would really like is to see them basically I would like to see them expand other IPs into a game type. Like, I would like to see a Legend of Zelda paper game, or a Kirby paper game. Like, I would like to see them take that art style and that form of combat with time to attack and stuff like that, and make a Legend of Zelda game. Like, have, instead of Link like getting tools and shit, well, he can get tools too, but he also gets, like, his magic spells would be like the Mario curses in Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, where like he gets different abilities and shit. That would be awesome to me.
Or evasive magics.
Well, I mean, that would be really cool. Like you basically or his items also bestow a paper craft ability. Like instead of the hook shot, he turns into little mini origami links, and he can stretch across the room in order to hit switches or cross a barrier. I mean, that'd be kind of cool. Instead of a cape or a fan or a leaf, he turns into a paper airplane and gets thrown across the room. That would be really cool to me to see that type of. That would be really cool. But I mean, that's just me. I don't work at Nintendo, so. But yeah, I would like to see them. I would like to see them expand IPs into other games types, not so much change the game type so much.
With me, I really have no such inclination about that. I just want to see what they're going to do with what type of franchise and what type of series for what type of game for what type of mechanics they use. That's it. If I enjoy it or not, well, that remains to be seen. I mean, shoot. To this day, I'm still asking for a platforming game that stars Luigi and saves Daisy instead of the normal thing that's happening now. But I got Luigi's Mansion, and to be honest, I'm not mad. I wasn't mad.
Well, I mean, I like Luigi. Actually, to tell you the truth, I always like playing as Luigi more than Mario.
This is coming from a Mario fan who is very fond of Mario more than Luigi. But Heck, even I was like, let's throw Luigi a bone here.
I've always liked Luigi more than Mario, just because Luigi just always seemed like the better brother to me, which is why I really like Mario and Luigi Superstars, Mario and Luigi Dream Team, because Luigi is totally like the star of that game. Mario's in it, but Luigi is like kind of like the main character. But I digress. So we got some comments from Stream Genie here. Yes, I agree. Mario gonna die. Yeah, he's gonna die. He's gonna die in like 100 years. Psycho Soldier's SNK. If you don't know about Psycho Soldier, give me your damn gamer card.
Come
I'm sorry,
on.
I don't know Psycho Soldier. Dude, let me put it this way. If it's an arcade game, I'm sorry. Like, I never really got into SNK arcade games except Samurai. Like, okay, they had a Neo Geo arcade machine at the arcade where I used to go to when I was a kid. It had King of the Monsters. It had King of the...
Red
Can
Fox,
I finish? Can I finish, please?
Right.
It had King of the Monsters. It had Samurai Showdown, and it had which I forget which King of the Fighters it was, but it was the one that had Terry Bogard in it. I know all of them have Terry Bogard in it, but it was the one that was kind of like it kind of had the thing where it would zoom in and out on the characters, kind of like the other SNK game that they like to make.
Fatal Fury, my friend.
Yeah. And so basically...
But then there's also Art of Fighting, which is Gyokugin Ginru.
Yeah, I couldn't... Yeah, like SNK was never like my favorite arcade developer. My favorite arcade developer, maybe Midway, Namco, and Capcom. Those are my favorites. Like they made my favorite arcade games.
Okay, so. Now here's where I wanted to stop you midway. You didn't even know Psycho Soldier. I mean, that was basically a sequel to Athena, but then again,
I've heard of it.
Yeah,
I've heard of Athena. I've never played Psycho Soldier. Sorry.
Yeah, but then as before, when I mentioned Athena, I was like, I was just mentioning it by passing.
Yeah, I played Athena on the NES, and I guess that was a port of an SNK arcade game. But Athena is damn hard though. I mean, it is. Oh, that game is. Oh.
No,
that game holds you spread eagle and curb stomps on your balls. That game is so hard.
Yeah, for one thing, the control setup of it was really wonky at best.
Not even that. It's just really fucking hard. The enemies show no mercy in Athena. They're like right off the bat. You think they start you off kind of easy? No. You don't know how to play that game. They will kill you in the first few screens. You're like, damn. Well, fuck this game.
But then I guess that's how they tested that if you're really a god.
I guess it was really hard. Another question, another statement from Frank Stringini: jazz equals the idolatry of music. I don't know if it's the idolatry of music. I like jazz music. But I like old school jazz music. I like Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Dinah Washington,
Take the D train.
Coltrane, Thelonious Monk, Charlie Bird, Parker. I like those dudes. So
Even big. Oh, no,
here's the thing: you can't talk about. You can't talk about the thing is that you can't talk about jazz unless you start talking about old blues people. So.
Yeah.
You can't you can't talk about old blues without talking about jazz. So yeah. So we have another question from Titan 990. Actually, new question from Titan 990 because he hasn't been on for a while. He or she. Here's a statement: the Wii U is outselling the PS4 in Japan, but Nintendo is doomed, right, guys? Well, not only that, Nintendo basically owns Japan. They're the #1 publisher in Japan. They're the most trusted video game developer in Japan. They own the biggest market share in Japan. 43% of the market is owned by Nintendo in Japan. Sony owns 23%.
Yeah, cause I saw the sales figures and like the PS4 sold like 10,000 less consoles this week than last week.
Yeah, because they went too Western. The PS4 is too damn Western, and the Japanese style developers are getting squeezed out of the market. So the games that appeal to Japanese style gamers aren't being made by Sony or for Sony anymore. Now the Vita's doing okay in Japan, but the PS4 is it's kind of funny. But Nintendo is totally doomed. You're absolutely right. They're fucked.
I'm sorry, but doesn't this remind me of something that one person that we've known that said this? Give me a second. Who was that person again? Oh yes, it was John Mother freaking Lucas.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Japan is the second largest market. It's the first largest market for mobile and handheld. It's the second largest market for consoles. Well, now it's like third because consoles are kind of dying there. But
Uh-oh, seems like we're having some technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Please stand
no,
by.
I was just saying that it seems kind of funny to me that people don't understand that I mean, people just fail to understand that that's how gaming used to like. If you cannot hold Japan, like, and here's the thing, Japan's really important for Sony and Nintendo because Japan is the homeland. If you can take care of home, then I don't care what you do in other places. And this is why Microsoft is like desperately trying to get shit together here in America. If they lose in America, they are fucked. Because they're losing everywhere else. They're losing in Europe. They lost in Japan. They lost when they launched the shit in Japan. So the only market where they're not getting their lunch taken is America, and they're still losing in America to the PS4. So like Microsoft is like they got their back against the wall. It's funny because for 15 years Microsoft spent money like a sailor on a 3-day pass at a port, but now they're like, it still didn't do shit for them. So I mean, maybe spending money like you're pissing, like you're a horse pissing. Maybe that's not the answer in the console business.
Losing in your own home court. How sad is that?
Yeah, that's embarrassing. But Xbox is totally awesome.
I mean, it's not just that either, but a lot of the Japanese style gaming on PS4, it's kind of them. They're mostly like lackluster or completely westernized to death. It's just because like a lot of these like anime style games that's on PS4, they're subpar. They're not as good.
You don't say.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say they're completely subpar. I'll just say that here's the thing. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with the Japanese market. Like everyone's like, well, the Vita's doing so well in Japan. You want to know why the Vita's doing well in Japan? Because a lot of the developers who made games on the PSP developed the engine for the PSP, and they're just upporting the games to the fucking Vita. It's cheap for them to put games on the Vita in Japan. It's not cheap for them to put games here in America, because then they got licensing fees and shit like that. They don't want to do that shit. Because Sony, I mean, like, and here's the thing, Sony doesn't, like, they don't want Sony to fall because it's a platform for them.
Yeah, and it's just like, I remember when everyone was like, "Oh man, the Japanese market is dead." I'm like, no, it's not. No, it ain't even close. They just say this to please their money grubbing dicks. That's all.
No, I mean, look, okay, the console market is kind of sick in Japan. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna take, like, I think Nintendo might be able to do it. I really do. I think Nintendo might be able to kind of,
They're kind of doing that with the Wii U when you think about it, because we hear stories about the guys playing the Wii U on like these bullet trains.
No, I think Nintendo might be able to do it. The only reason I think Nintendo might be able to do it, like the Wii U's kind of doing it because it's kind of appealing to the handheld market. But I think I think with the NX they might pull it off because the NX is going to be kind of like a synthesis of everything we know about gaming, I guess. Hence the N-Cross or whatever they're going to call it. I think they might be able to pull it off. But in terms of just like, because Nintendo needs an answer to the mobile market, because that's what's eaten into their bite of the pie. Fuck Sony's Vita and Microsoft's Xbox, which sold like 202 units.
Come on.
Let's give them a hand. They sold 202 units last week. Like, really? Like, I don't even know why they released that shit in Japan. Like, I just don't get it. I'm like, why? Just Microsoft, just say fuck it. Just be like, you know what, fuck it.
I will give them this. They sure got balls of steel to do that.
You know, this shit's embarrassing. It's like watching it. Like at this point, the Xbox One is like a little kid. Like it's like watching like a kid give a report, but who's totally unprepared. But they're still gonna go for it, and you're looking at them like this kid is totally getting an F on this thing. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion, and it's like at some point you're like, someone please stop this person because they're making it worse. Just stop. Just sit down and stop. But they won't. I mean, Microsoft's like, well, it's about consumer expectations. No one wants that shit in Japan. Please stop. Stop. Just please. You're embarrassing. Like, at this point, it's just fucking embarrassing. Like when it launched, there was like one guy in line, like multiple stores, one guy getting it. He's like, he's like defending. He's like, I like Halo. You're so sad. It's embarrassing. I'm sorry. The Xbox One, it's just an embarrassing console in Japan. So our next question goes to String Genie. Do you think that 2D Mario graphics can be improved? Also, what media is preferred? 2D hand-drawn expensive art style like Wario Land Shake It, or 3D cheap stuff you could download right now? I think it depends on the game. Some games do well with 3D style graphics. Like, what's a game that did well with 3D style graphics?
Country Returns and Tropical Freeze.
Yeah, those games did well with 3D style, like 2D plain but 3D style graphics.
Now, when it comes to now Mario, when it comes to 2D Mario, I prefer the hand drawn.
Yeah, I prefer like what they've been doing.
Yeah, because I'm sick of seeing new Super Mario Brothers. To tell you the truth.
Well, I mean, it's not that I don't like the 3D Mario style games. It's just they're not. To me, they're just not like.
Remember when they used to have that artist? They used to do all the 2D Mario art style. Why don't they bring him back and just do a game based on his art style?
Oh, you mean within the booklet where they have show you how Mario does all this stuff? Yeah, I would love to see that. Like, I would like to see a Mario done in that art style, and I think that if you ask them, like personally speaking, I'd like to see them make a true sequel to Super Mario World, not a Yoshi's Island bullshit, an actual sequel. Like call it Return to Dinosaur Land. Just make it just crazy. Just have Yoshi in it. Have the cape feather. Bring back the cape feather, motherfuckers. Bring back the cape feather.
Well, I guess I'm the only person out of the three that actually do like the 3D style in 3D or even in a 2D play Mario game. But
well, I didn't say I didn't like it. I didn't say
you said you were indifferent.
No, I didn't say I didn't like it. I said that I wasn't like. I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said that I'm not as fond of it as say, the 2D. But then again, I mean, for me, it's nostalgia. I grew up with 2D style Mario, so that's what I like.
Yeah, I would say you're indifferent because you're right in the middle. But I guess I would be one too because I wouldn't mind or would love to see that 2D art style in a Mario game. The 2D Mario game.
I mean, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I prefer 2D. I prefer 2D style, hand drawn art style of Mario games. That's what I like.
Yeah, and why you think Mario 3 and World and stuff? You can look at that stuff today on the SNES or NES and it still holds up.
Yeah, because the art style is really good. Whereas 3D games tend not to age very well. But I think that even the 3D style Mario games, because they're cartoony enough, I think those age very well too. I think like when you try to go too realistic, that's when shit doesn't age well. It looks great for the time. Like play Gears of War.
And
when Gears of War first came out, it looked great. But after about 2 or 3 years, it started to look like ass because it was too damn like they tried to go too realistic.
And then comes the Unreal Engine questions. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Someone's playing the Super Mario World level. I know that music.
Yeah, that's me. You just Red Fox. Just go and buy Mario Maker. Just do it.
I would, but I spent a lot of my gaming budget on other things, so can't do it yet. Gotta wait. That's how you make money in this world. You gotta budget things out.
Yeah.
You gotta spend money to make money. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you gotta budget things out. You can't spend money willy-nilly on shit. So I'll wait until next month, and I'll get it next month. No big deal.
But you do know what's next month? Woolly World.
Yeah, Woolly World, which I've already paid for, and just waiting for it to get delivered. So that's kind of like what I spent my money on, because I spent $80 because I got a deal. Because normally it's like I think it was like 90 something, but I got a deal on it. So I spent 80. That's why I don't have the money for budgeted for Mario Maker.
Let's see. We got any more questions?
Yes, we do. We have a few more. Just a smidge. There are those who say that a Mario and Luigi series is now stagnant with the upcoming Paper Jam, but that would only make 5 games total across 13 years. Is this a case of the Nintendo double standard again? Yeah. It would be. Besides, Paper Jam isn't technically a Mario and Luigi game. It's a crossover between Mario, Luigi, and Paper Mario. And hopefully it'll bring Paper Mario back, because Paper Mario Sticker Star was them trying to come back, but they made it too fucking casual. And Super Paper Mario fucking sucked. So
yeah, my issue is with the RPGs, like the Mario RPGs of this generation. Is like we have like 4 Mario RPGs all on 3DS and none on Wii U. I don't understand that.
Mario RPGs? Because basically Mario RPG is meant to appeal to a more casualized crowd. And so, like, for consoles tend to be more hardcore gamers.
Yeah.
They're not picking up the Wii U.
Yeah, and they're not picking up the Wii U. Because the Wii U, like, okay, hardcore Nintendo fans pick up the Wii U. It's not appealing to the casual crowd because they want a PS4. And, you know, that's their business. Me, personally, the only reason I'm getting a PS4 is for Ratchet & Clank. And I'm going to wait until they do a price drop or they have some good bundles out. Like, I'm not just going to go get that shit on the promise of a game, because that game might get delayed, it might get pushed back, and I'm not going to have something in my house I'm not playing on. And I already have a Blu-ray player, so fuck that shit. You know, people are like, I got it for Blu-ray. I've got Netflix, so Blu-ray is irrelevant.
Yes, my issue with Blu-ray is like some of the older TV series, like some of the older anime, like from the 80s and 90s, they get Blu-ray releases. It's just completely washed out in the contrast and everything.
Well, the thing about Blu-ray is that it's fine. The thing about Blu-ray is it's just like it was an unnecessary jump. Like literally, we shouldn't have been thinking about Blu-ray for another 3 years. Like maybe like next year, Sony should have been bringing out Blu-ray.
Yeah, because they did cut DVD kind of quick.
Yeah, they did. Because Sony, they wanted to win the format war, and in winning the format battle, they lost the war because streaming makes all that shit irrelevant.
I don't know. For me, I'd still rather get some DVDs at least for movies at least, because when I don't have when I don't have internet, that means no freaking Netflix. So I can just pop that sucker in a DVD player, and I'm still good to go.
Yeah. Like not, I see. I think that's what I say. 4 Mario RPGs. Yeah. Dream Team, Mario Luigi Dream Team, Sega Star, Paper Jam, and if you count Puzzle and Dragons Mario Edition, that's 4.
Well, I'm not gonna count. I'm not gonna count Puzzle and Dragons Mario Edition. No, that is not an RPG. I'm not gonna count that as an RPG.
Okay.
So 3. There's 3.
Why didn't you mention Superstar Saga? I thought
that's Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Oh snap!
No. Here's how many Mario and Luigi. There's Superstar Saga, which is the first one. Then they went to the DS with Partners in Time, which was the one with the babies. I fucking hate that one. Like because they changed the battle system from Brothers Points to like you have to like use items, which was just fucking stupid. Then they went back to the normal with Bowser's Inside Story, where like Bowser fights the ultimate evil, which takes on the form of himself, but it's actually like Fawful's evil plan.
He has Fury.
Yeah, at the end of the game, like after Bowser like beats the shit out of the ultimate evil, Mario like he's like I'm gonna kidnap the princess, and Mario and Luigi beat the shit out of him, and Princess Peach sends him a cake. I'm like, ain't that a bitch? That bitch watched him get his ass kicked, and then gonna send him a cake to taunt him. Yeah, Princess Peach is a bitch. And then the fourth one is
something good like that.
Dream Team. The fourth one is Dream Team. And now you have a crossover between Dream Team and Paper Mario. And conversely, there's 4 Paper Marios. There's Paper Mario there's 64. There's Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which is the best one. There's Super Paper Mario, number 4. There's Sticker Star, which is number 4. So the 5th game for both of them, it's a crossover. So actually, I kind of like the idea now. It's the 5th game for both of them. They're like, fuck it, we're gonna combine them, and hopefully they'll do right by Paper Mario, and we'll get a good one by himself, in the vein of the GameCube one.
Okay. Next.
Oh, yes. Our final few questions are. Let me check this thing real quick. Okay, we already did that one. I lied. This is the last statement. I do remember the Xbox 360 selling about 12 million units at this point in time of the generation. I think the Wii U sales are fine, but hey, let the Pretendos cry. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Titan 990. It's not about console sales. Like, people forget, the console sales are not where the money's at. The money is in software sales, and no one has better software sales and makes more money off of their software sales than Nintendo. So, really, like, that's the thing. People are like, well, it has, like, the PS2 had an install base of over 100, but Sony still didn't make as much money in that gen as Nintendo did.
Yeah.
They outsold Nintendo greatly, but Nintendo won off of software sales. So
I think it's also funny how people rave about the console sales of Wii U when PS3, when it first came out, its first 3 years, it was doing much, much worse. But people have selective memory when it comes to that, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Heck, even with the PS3, I was like, I gave PS3 time until it has legs running, but it's viable again. It's alive.
He didn't get the ball rolling until like 4 years into the market when they had that big price cut, and then they started.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole time they were still hemorrhaging money. But apparently we can't talk about that because, you know, whatever.
All right. I think we got what, like one more. I think 2 more.
Just a few more, and then we're done. And then we're done. One last statement. I can't wait for a Super Mario 3D Maker. A man can dream. I would like a Super Mario 3D Maker, but the amount of coding that would have to go into that shit would be fucking ridiculous. Like, I don't even think you'd see it I don't think you'd see it in the next 10 years. Well, you know, maybe 7 years, but not in the next, not in the next gen.
That'd be a lot.
Our last concept is from Frank Stringini. I love the VR comment. Slapping something to your head can't be good for you. I think the future is in remote control animatronics, like a robotic Mario that has a drone that hovers around him as you control the Robo Mario in the comfort of your home. That sounds cool, Frank. Personally, I think the future of gaming is going to be kind of like HoloLens, where you're basically going to be sitting down in your house and the game is going to be projected around you. And they might have a thing where you can set it up on your TV, but really, like, the best version of the best mode will be where it's like you're in a room and it's projected around you in a room, and you can, like, go anywhere and do practically anything. I think that's going to be the future of gaming, me personally. And I think that the logical step from that will be complete immersive virtual reality, not this bullshit where you slap something on your head. Literally, you're in the game. I think that's going to be the future. But I think we're not going to see it for the next 15 years. And I'll be an old man by then, so. Actually, I'll be 44. So. Yeah.
Hey, still a bit young.
Well, I mean, to me, 44 is an old man. But really, that's like not even, like, the way people are living now, that's like, oh, you just barely are touching, you're looking at middle age, but not really. Okay, that was the end of our questions. Anyone have anything they want to promote before we ring it in?
Well, I just would like to promote Gamers at Large, Nduo, Linus Nduo podcast. Poppy 2Ks, which is streaming right now. If you want some laughs, go over there. Check him out. And probably all those shameless plugs. So yeah, that's it. So this has been Triple M, the lone wolf and fondness for games that forms into a fireball and hot, and also pops out my artworks. I bid you adieu, ladies and gents.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope you got some knowledge today. This is the one and only KH Anime here. Remember to keep calm and game on.
And this is Mr. Red Fox. This is the end of this podcast. Tomorrow I will be doing a podcast based upon movie talk. So we won't be talking about games unless it's a movie based on a game. So look forward to that. Next week, like I said, had a really good idea. I'll be talking about how Phil Spencer's absolutely right. Console wars are a waste of fucking time. Instead of having a console war, we need to be having a game war. Talking about games, not consoles with features. So, with that being said, look forward to next week's podcast, which will return to a Saturday format. The only reason I did today's podcast on Friday was because we had some unfinished business that we didn't cover last time, so it made sense to do it, get it out the way, so then we'd have movie talk free and clear. That being said, I bid you guys a good night and good day and have fun and blah, 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 blah. That's the end of this podcast.